Hey everyone, it's Nikki Lake, and today I want to talk about the changes I've seen with myself since reducing my sugar intake. So, I kind of wanted to start a series about glowing up and just becoming a better version of yourself. So, I figured what would be the best way to start this off than by talking about the main type of food that a lot of people are addicted to, and that is sugar. Personally, I used to have a huge sweet tooth. Like, I could not go a single day without thinking about sweets or having it at some point in the day. Like, my day was just not complete without it. So, since then, I've nipped my sweet tooth in the bud and I've noticed these changes in my body and even on my face and my hair that I kind of want to go into. But I've drastically reduced my sugar intake because I was diagnosed with seborrheic dermatitis back in 2022 by my dermatologist. So when I looked up the causes of seborrheic dermatitis, it just led me to convince myself that I needed to cut my sugar intake as soon as possible. But since cutting it, I've definitely noticed a lot of benefits and changes. So I wanted to go into that in this video, and hopefully this will help someone out there who is struggling with sugar addiction. The first thing I've noticed is that I crave way less sugar. So when I have one Oreo and I tell myself, okay, I'm just eating this one Oreo, that's it. I end up eating three more and then five more. And then before I know it, I've already completed the entire sleeve. And that's because sugar does have addictive properties. It's like your brain is getting that dopamine to where it's rewarding. It's like, oh my gosh, this tastes so good. I have to keep eating. And then before I know it, it's gotten out of control. So since reducing my sugar drastically, I can go an entire week without wanting sugar. So usually I'll reach for like blueberries or cantaloupe, just something fruity. And I've noticed that fruits taste way more sweeter to me than it did when I was eating too many like processed and refined sugars. So if I eat Oreos and then I eat fruit afterwards, the fruit isn't going to taste as good to me. In fact, it might even taste bitter because I've jacked up my taste bud receptors. Like, I'd rather eat the Oreos than something that's sweet but also good for me, like the fruit. So that's the first thing I noticed with my sugar reduction. The next thing is that I noticed weight loss. So back in 2022, around the time I had my seborrheic dermatitis, I also had this huge gut. Like, I was so inflamed, it wasn't even funny. And I was doing everything that I could to lose weight. I mean, at least that's what I thought I was doing because I was doing everything but eating healthy and cutting my sugar. But at the time, I was like, I guess I was trying to convince myself that I can eat whatever I want as long as I go to the gym. I can enjoy this slice of carrot cake as long as I do my cardio. And that just wasn't the case. So with sugar reduction, I've noticed that it's a lot easier to lose weight. The inches are just coming off so much easier and I don't have to work as hard in the gym. I mean, of course, I still work out to the best of my ability when I am at the gym, but it's not like I feel like I have to do this excessive amount of cardio because I had that slice of carrot cake. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much easier to get the weight off and keep it off. So back then when I had my gut, I was around a size 10 and now I'm a size 4. So that already is a huge jump for me. And personally, I feel a lot better about myself when I'm more petite because I am pretty short. I'm like 5'5", which I guess is average. But I feel like when I have too much weight on me and too much body fat, I just look disproportionate. And I think it's kind of subjective because some people would rather keep, the meat on their bones and some people prefer the more petite look. And that's me personally. I feel like clothes just look so much better on me. And I just have an overall boost of confidence when I'm more on the smaller end of the spectrum. So yeah, weight loss is definitely a huge plus. And the fact that it is super easy to lose weight after cutting sugar, that is one of the main reasons why I don't plan on going back to eating as much sugar as I once did. The third thing I noticed is that I have way more energy. So imagine sleeping for 10 to 12 hours and then waking up feeling like you only got like half of that, like you only slept for 5 hours. that's how I was feeling when I was eating too much sugar. Like it really affected my energy levels. And then I felt kind of, like foggy brained and I couldn't really think clearly. That's what it felt like for me. And that's such a horrible feeling to feel like you didn't get that much sleep. And I also felt very lazy and unmotivated. So once I did finally wake up, I would kind of just lay in bed and not want to do anything. Like I barely even wanted to go to the gym. So I'm like, oh, I got to get up and go work out. It was more of like a burden instead of something that I was excited to do. So since then, I've noticed the increased energy levels to where I can wake up early. I can go to the gym early in the morning, get my meal prep done. Like I feel so much more, like I can do more tasks throughout the day instead of feeling like I've wasted my day in bed. And the 24 hours that we've been given is already not enough as it is, in my opinion. So the fact that I'm able to wake up earlier and have more energy to get more done, that is already optimizing the 24 hours that I do have in the day so I can get more done. So I just feel like more accomplished because I'm able to tackle a lot more than what I was previously doing in the day. The next thing I notice is that I'm less hungry in between meals. So you know how they say you should drink water if you're feeling hungry because half of the time you might be just dehydrated. So I find that when I do wait a couple hours in between meals, I'm able to wait until my next meal to eat. I'm not craving sugars and snacks in between because I'm not as hungry. And like I was saying in my first point, that when you eat sugar, you tend to crave more sugar. So in this case, if I'm not eating any sugar throughout the day, I can kind of have better judgment on the type of food that I will eat. So if I do feel a little bit hungry in between meals, I'll reach for water or even coconut water, which does contain a little bit of sugar in it, depending on the brand that you get. But it sure beats eating cookies and stuff. But I'll usually reach for like coconut water or water, and I'll feel just fine until I have my next meal, which is usually like salads and lean meats and stuff like that. But if I were to eat sugar in between my meals, I would crave nothing but sugar after that first bite of whatever it is. Say I had a piece of cheesecake in between my meals. I'm not going to want to eat a savory meal. I'm not going to want to eat healthy after that because my mind has been, well, first my taste buds, and then my mind has been reintroduced to this sugar, and then the cravings just come back to me, and I'm like, oh, shoot, let me just eat this whole cheesecake. You know what I mean? Because it just spirals out of control at that point. At least for me, it does. So if I refrain from sugar in between my meals, I find that, like my blood glucose levels are regulated and I'm able to be more selective with what I'm going to eat for my next meal. The last thing that I notice is that I have way less dandruff from my seborrheic dermatitis. So the person that prompted me to go see a dermatologist was my hairstylist. So when I was at her hair salon, she had an assistant that was washing my hair at the shampoo bowl. And her assistant told her in Spanish, oh my gosh, her hair is still dirty. Even after shampooing, her hair is still dirty. And that was so embarrassing. But the funny thing is that I did notice that no matter how much I shampooed my hair at home outside of the salon, my hair never felt or looked clean. Like you could still see some residue of dandruff. So if you guys don't know, seborrheic dermatitis has, it's like a yeast in your scalp, like a yeast or fungal infection, to where you'll have like these big scaly flakes throughout your scalp, and it also causes hair loss and thinning. So I had noticed that I was experiencing a lot of hair loss, and then my stylist kind of, pointed it out and confirmed it. So I was like, okay, so I'm not going crazy. This is actually happening. I'm experiencing a lot of hair loss. So she was like, you should go see a dermatologist or a doctor to see what's going on. So I was like, okay, good idea. I'm going to go do that. And once I went to the dermatologist, they did a scalp exam, and that's when they were like, yeah, you do have seborrheic dermatitis. And then they recommended this medicated shampoo and also recommended Nutrafol. So I've actually been taking Nutrafol for the last couple of years, and I've noticed a huge difference in like my scalp and hair, especially the hair thinning that I had. Like it's subsided a lot. Like my hair looks so much fuller now since taking Nutrafol and of course reducing my sugar. So when I was looking up the causes of seborrheic dermatitis, the articles I was reading stated that it's caused by a diet high in sugars and yeast. So I am also a huge pizza fanatic. So I love extra cheese. I love all the garlic knots, all that good stuff. So my diet at the time was high in carbohydrates and sugars. So in turn, it showed up in my scalp and in my hair, and it just caused this huge reaction of inflammation. So, like I said, it was very embarrassing going around with these flakes in my scalp, and I felt like it was something I couldn't control. Like it was like no matter what I did, I couldn't get the flakes out of my scalp. So I started using the medicated shampoo and Nutrafol, and like I said, it's been so much better. And then after reading these articles, that's when I decided to significantly reduce my sugar intake. So ever since then, my scalp has been under control. Even when I went to see my stylist recently, she was like, "Oh my gosh, your hair looks so much better. Your scalp looks so much healthier." So I'm glad that she noticed the difference too. But yeah, I've been able to retain so much more length. My hair looks fuller because a diet high in sugar does cause hair loss. Like it damages the hair follicle. So the next time you reach for those cookies and those cakes, think about the effects that it's going to have on your hair. And of course, excess sugar can cause diabetes and things like that. But these are just the things that I've experienced since reducing my sugar intake. So yeah, I hope this video helped somebody and gave you some insight on maybe starting a journey of significantly cutting your sugar. And we're going to do this glow up together. We're all going to better ourselves from the inside out. And I hope to see you in the next one.